Hello, guys. Oh, you're already on here. Okay, cool. Well, we're live. Um, and I'm gonna wait for a few more people to get on if anybody shows up on Friday. I guess I haven't learned my lesson that Friday is not. This light is making me look funny. Oh, that Fridays are not the best days to make a live YouTube video or post any video on YouTube, really. But anyway, here we are. It's 4:30 my time, West Coast time, and I wanted to talk about this latest bulk buy and the numbers and how long it took me to get through four Gaylords. So it was two Gaylords of CDs, two CD Gaylords, and two Book Gaylords for four total Gaylords. And I did the CDs first, which took me longer. And then the Book Gaylords took me only about 2 to 3 days to sort, scan everything. It's a lot faster. However, I found much less items that I can sell on Amazon compared to the CDs. There's just a lot more CDs and a lot more potentially profitable ones, or there are a lot more profitable ones than books. So basically, the numbers I threw up for the title of this are the potential profit for all the books that I pulled out of the two Gaylords. So I went through two Gaylords. Let's see, it's Friday, so I think I started on Monday, and by Wednesday I was done with the second one, and I can't remember exactly, but basically I was done this week. I think at most it took me a couple days total, and I pulled out. Let's see, between the two Gaylords, I pulled out 35 books for FBA and then 42 for merchant fulfilled. So that is, what is that? 77 books between merchant fulfilled and FBA for the two Gaylords. So the numbers were, now these are this is potential profit, and this is net. This is after all the fees. This is what the numbers List gave me once I listed everything. So for FBA, for those 35 books, it was around 299, so about $300 profit. Again, this is potential profit. There's no guarantee that I'll sell them for as much as I'm going to list them. By the time they get there, I dropped them off today, all those books today, and at FedEx. So they'll get shipped out. One of them is going really close and close to Arizona, so that'll be there pretty quickly. But the other two are going further, so it'll probably take into late next week. So for merchant fulfilled, it was $367. So all told, it was $666 between the two of potential profit from the two Gaylord Gaylords of books. Which, let's see, where do I have the numbers? Which is not bad. I mean, if you're new into bulk, and now of course I'm doing it on a super small scale. I don't yet have anyone helping me. Of course, I don't have a warehouse. I don't have a big operation, so I'm not flying through Gaylords. That's a whole nother, a whole different scenario. This is on a very small scale, so I'm not gonna, compare myself to somebody who's going through a whole a whole trailer load, 50 Gaylords a week or something like that. But or even someone that's doing 10 or whatever. But I'm only doing two this time. So so my numbers are for one person shop and that type of thing. If you're thinking about getting into it, and the Gaylords were $65 each. I've seen prices all over the place. Some people get them for less. Some people get them for a little more. But in terms of the output of what I've been able to get, this was decent, but not great. I would have a really great output, I think, for FBA would be 30 to 40 out of one box, one Gaylord. And I wasn't able to crack 20 on either of them. So it was kind of like okay. And then Merchant Fulfilled was a little bit better with 42 between the two. So wasn't that great, but it was a decent amount, and I'm still going to make profit off of them because all told, with what I pay to have them delivered and the cost of them, I'll make potential prop. Let's see, where did I put it? The potential profit will be $475 once all of them sell. Of course, we know how this works. Not everything sells immediately. Some things will take months. Some things will take a year between, merchant fulfilled and FBA and that type of stuff. Some things will never sell. So it could be less than that. But I mean, it's more than likely, it's almost guaranteed it'll be less than that, $475 of profit off the two Gaylord of books. That's not bad though, considering the little amount of time I spent between sorting and scanning and then listing and shipping. I didn't spend too much time. I was able to do it in like 4 days, maybe five. Not working all day, of course. So not that much time. That's the good thing about Book Gaylords is a lot of it is, it's either in bad condition, it's ripped, it's the spine's ruined, it's whatever. It's just really bad shape. It's moldy, maybe, maybe it's wet, maybe it's the pages are too stiff, pages are torn out, that type of stuff. That's easy. You just toss it, into another Gaylord to recycle it, get rid of it. There's other books that are in good condition. Hey, Jennifer, there's other books that are in good condition that are not worth looking up. It could be mass market paperbacks. It could be fiction, a lot of fiction in general, or popular fiction, which, hey, Troy, how you doing? Which could be, is more than likely not worth looking up. If it looks like it's sort of a unique, maybe a Stephen King book you've never seen before, or kind of a unique look to it, then it's worth looking at for sure. Maybe if it's older, it's good for eBay. Maybe it's a rare type of fiction book, but a lot of that stuff is not going to be good. So unless you have a way to sell it to a used bookstore, or you have Antique Mall, or you put on book sales in your warehouse or out of your garage sale, or whatever it is, or you're doing eBay lots, then you're probably just going to toss it. So it's pretty quick to get through those. So that's the numbers for the books. But I made other videos about the what I did with the CDs, and the two Gaylords of CDs. One of them I pulled for FBA. I pulled 122 CDs, or I sent in 122 CDs. Oh, I went live almost 8 minutes ago. 7:48, 49, 50. Yeah, I don't know why. So 122 CDs out of the first Gaylord and 148 for FBA. So I sent in 270 for FBA between the two CD Gaylords, and then I was able to pull out and list 116 and 76, so 192 out of the two Gaylords for merchant fulfilled. So way more. We're talking, we're talking 400. Oh my gosh. So 460. I can't do the math. 470. So 462. That's crazy. 462 CDs and some audiobooks between FBA and merchant fulfilled. Of course, more than half of those I sent off to warehouses. And the CDs are so small that I'm able to store them here at the house. Although I'm out of shelf space, so I'm gonna have to get another shelf to continue to expand the merchant fulfilled side of things. But there's just way more, 468 out of the two, than 77 books. But that's typical. That's what it is. There's just way more books and a lot of junk books. Price point for the books and the CDs. So it's more like less of a price point and more profit. So for the CDs, I try to do, it's similar with books, but for CDs, I try for merchant fulfilled, $2 to $3 profit. FBA, try to do around $3 profit. I'll do $2 to $3, under $3 for FBA if it's a book. Hey, Mark. Oh, from East Coast. Okay. I'll do less than $3 for a book FBA if it's one of those really fast sellers that I feel I can sell once it hits the warehouse, a couple days, couple weeks, maybe a month at most. Just quick money. If I can make $2.50 off it, $2 off of it, I mean, I do it. dozens of times and hundreds of times with a lot of books, then it adds up and it becomes, a percentage of your income, of your steady income. So it's worth it for me to do that if they're faster sellers. A book that's going to take 6 months to sell, but it's going to only make me, $3 is not really worth it. It's going to have a higher profit. But those are kind of the minimums. You know, so for a CD, I don't usually around $3 to send it in. Same for a book. I don't. Not right now, Mark. I don't have the time and the space to do that right now. I may or may not do that in the future, but books are tough. Not just books. Books and CDs are tough to do with the lots on eBay just because it takes a lot of time. And right now, I'm trying to focus more on Amazon side of things and building up my inventory, my merchant fulfilled inventory and my FBA inventory. So both of them going much bigger with merchant fulfilled this year. I'm already up to over 400, I think 420 now. Let me see. Looking at my inventory. Yeah, 438. So I have 438 live items for sale, merchant fulfilled right now. So I'm kind of ramping up for the rest of the year, basically. Thank you, Jennifer. I don't just try to, just having a bunch of items listed is not fun unless they're selling. So, for me right now, sales have been a little slow. I don't know about you guys. Oh, cost per book for one Gaylord. Ooh, really cheap. So the Gaylords for me are $65 plus, they charge to deliver the whole deal, so I split it up. But $65 plus maybe another 20 or $30 as part of the delivery fee. So, even $65, there's 800 to 1,000 books in there, so it's pennies. I mean, they're really like, a nickel, less than 10 cents a book for sure. When you consider all of them, per book that I pull out to send into Amazon. Yes, I am, Ken. Then, that's a different way of looking at it. I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? If you break it up, as in like I spent $65 for 800, 900 books. So then therefore I spent 6.5 cents or whatever that is, per book. But then I only pulled out, let's say 30, 40 books between merchant fulfilled and FBA. I mean, when you do your cost of goods, that's usually how you do it is per book. But you don't know how many books are in there exactly. It's kind of a guess. You're not going to sit there and count them. So, but anyway, so it's pretty cheap. Yeah. The cost of goods are cheaper. But let's say, okay, so let's do it this way. So 77 I pulled out. Times, oops. Come on now. 0.40 times 77. Oh, that's not right. I don't know. 1 second, guys. Yeah, that makes more. Yeah, it's like a little over. Have I ever tried to find another? Yeah, I tried. Yeah, sure, Mark. That'd be great. You can send it to, well, yeah, either I have the email marshallbookman@gmail.com, or you can do Instagram, Marshall Bookman on there. I don't know. I guess you can do it through YouTube too. But anyway, sure. Uh, I mean, just the thing like, okay, cool. Um, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to, the thing about with eBay is it's just, what seems to do is by author and by genre. So in order to build up enough books for it to be worth it to do a lot, it seems like you have to store them. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to put fiction books over here, this certain author over here, nonfiction books with these different, you know, genres over here, and then slowly you build them up, and then when you get enough together, you get 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever, then you throw them up on eBay. And there's just that requires a lot of space and effort and time, and then also when you list it, you ideally should list it, buy it now versus an auction in general. But then you got to wait for those to sell. And in my experience, whether it's a CD lot or whether it's book lots, it takes a long time for them to sell. Yeah, Stephen King. So it ends up becoming a space issue, and you know, maybe in the future, if I have more space, yeah, I'd be interested to see what kind of book bundles she's putting together. Because my guess is she's doing buy it now and she's waiting for them to sell. But you need to have a good way to organize it. You need to have you have enough space for it, that type of thing. So as of right now, I'm not going to do it, but I totally get why people do it. Um, so so clearly, CD. I mean, the 400 and what was it, 68 CDs I pulled out of the two Gaylords. Have I ever sourced at a library? Uh, Yeah, library book sales are really great. Library book sales, or a lot of them have their own little bookstore, and you can find great stuff in there. I usually just go to some of the books. I've gone to some of the book sales, not lately. I haven't. I usually when I go out sourcing, I'll go to thrift stores, that type of thing. But I went to one, I don't know, a couple months ago. I think at the end of the year, or November, something like that. I went to a library book sale. They can be good. You just got to find the good ones. There's great ones and there's ones that aren't so great. So you got to find the better ones in your area. The Gaylord of only CDs are $225. So their cost of goods is higher, but I'm getting a lot more out of them. Archives, archives section. Yeah. Um, so, ugh, sorry guys. Yeah, 225. So the cost of goods is higher, but even so, I was able to pull a lot more out of those. So it took me, so yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's all about, guys, I don't talk about it much, but if you're good at networking or you're willing to, put yourself in the position to maybe feel uncomfortable about it, but to make connections with people at libraries, at thrift stores, that's all I can think of at the moment. But maybe estate sale companies, people that put on estate sales, and you can get business cards together. I got some business cards together. I don't really hand them out, but um, you can hand out business cards with your numbers, say I buy books, etc. Yeah. Um, and let people know that you want, at the thrift store, say, do you have books in the back that you don't have room for out on the sales floor? Because if you do, I'd love to pay your normal prices and get a chance to look at them. And you know what? If it's a Goodwill, maybe not so much, but if it's like a standalone place, you probably have a really good chance at getting back there. Same with library sales. If you bring some cookies, or you bring, some food or something, or you build a relationship, and you get to know them, then maybe you can get to see some of the books before the book sale even happens. Maybe if you help out, you get access to them. Maybe with estate sale companies. You get access to the books before the sale, or maybe after the sale is over, you get to take them all for free. And chances are you'll find something in there. Anyway, so definitely networking is a huge part of this. I mean, getting books in bulk is basically the books that a lot. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Um, Forgot what I was talking about. Let's see if you guys commented. No. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there. So it took me 23 days from when I got it. On the 23rd of January, it took me 23 days. Of course, it didn't take me really 23 days, but there was a couple weekends in there and that sort of thing. But it took me. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. It took me. No, it's not rambling. No problem. What is that? A little over 2 weeks to receive those four Gaylords, sort, scan. Yes, I do. List and ship everything today. I shipped out all the books, and I listed all the merchant fulfilled books, and all the other CDs had already been done. All the CDs were done, so it took me 23 days by myself to do all that. So this was really the first time I was really tracking it closely to see how long it takes me to do that entire process by myself, and to see where I can, because what I wanted to do for a long time is get some help with this. And I know that if I'm able to hire somebody to only even just help me with the sorting process, that type of thing, for the CDs, let's say, that I can probably double my output. So what I'm thinking is, I need to do that. So instead of it taking me a week by myself to do one Gaylord of CDs, if I get somebody to help me 8 or 10 hours a week just with the sorting, stacking, once I'm done scanning them, putting them in boxes, that type of stuff, I should, now this was all an experiment, I should be able to double my output, or get really close. And then, be able to hopefully double my income. Out of one Gaylord, what percentage is FBA merchant and donation and trash? So, well, if you figure I pulled 77 out of two Gaylords of Book Gaylords, that's a really low percentage, and probably less than 2,000 books. So that's what, under 5%. It's a really low percentage. There's a few for eBay. So I have this stack here. These are ones that are going on eBay, and there's two others. That was from one Gaylord. So it's really low. CDs it's higher, but with books it's pretty low. Like I said, so the money for bulk books, not okay. How you're able to double, triple your money is you need to be able to have a way to monetize your duds, your Amazon duds. So the books you cannot sell individually for a profit or enough profit on Amazon or on eBay. You need to have a way to monetize a good amount of those out of Gaylords, or you're just gonna be going through a ton of books to find those Amazon ones and those few eBay ones. You're gonna go through Gaylords upon Gaylords upon Gaylords. So, maybe you have some sort of like little antique mall situation, a booth. Maybe you have a warehouse where you can put on some book sales. Maybe you have used big used bookstores in your area where you can go and get store credit or cash. Maybe you're using Book Scouter, and it worked for some of them. So there's a variety of different ways that you can try that, but that's really where, if you want to go heavy into books, which is why I want to go more into the CD direction for now, because I can make more money off the CDs. The CDs that are not good for Amazon or eBay, I can either sell them in lots on eBay or if I want to, I can scan them into various different programs and make a few pennies here and there. But there's ways to do it. So when it comes to CDs, the percentage that I get is anywhere between 15% for CDs out of a Gaylord. So FBA is 8 to 10%, and when you do both of them, merchant fulfilled and FBA, it's a little bit higher. I would say 15+%. So hold on, see how much. Okay. So it's much higher for CDs. Now for Gaylords, I get CDs because they take. So usually what happens is called mixed media Gaylords, and there's all kinds of media, right? Not books, but there's CDs, DVDs, audiobooks, software, video games, even sometimes VHS tapes, audio cassette tapes, that type of stuff. And it's all mixed in. So what they do is they just separate them because they have some people that want just DVDs and some people like me that just want CDs. So I get mostly just CDs. There's always audiobooks and there's always video games in there and there's always some software in there. But it's like 95% CDs. Well, 95%. Two Gaylords of what? Of books or of CDs? Because the books, okay, so the books, yeah, it was like 800 to 1,000 each roughly. So let's say 1,600 to 2,000 books. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, like I almost filled up another Gaylord of the books that I'm gonna recycle because they're in bad shape or they're just not something I can sell. A lot of fiction stuff gets in there. A lot of older nonfiction, whether they're textbooks or out of print books or just type of topics that aren't going to be, they're not going to go for money. Go for good money. They're not. You know when you see it, right? Like whether they're computer books or certain topics that are not going to be worth anything. I'll scan most of them if they have a barcode. So it depends. So out of the two Gaylords I had, the first one was a lot cleaner, meaning that the books were in better condition and there wasn't trash kind of a situation. Where the second one was much worse, where it had like a lot of magazines in there. There was a certain segment of it that it was actually wet, and maybe it was just an accident from my source at some point. It could have been them, or it could have been the people that they get it from. But a small little pocket of books were wet that I had to toss out on the side. They were just drenched, and some of them were already getting moldy and that type of thing. That's the first time that's happened though. So aside from that though, it had magazines and it had loose paper. Like I found, what did I find? I found actual copy paper you use, printer paper in there, a whole ream of it, which I have in my room here, in my office. I'm going to use because it was in good condition. So you find all kinds of weird stuff in there, and just random pieces of paper. So that one was more like trashy, but I still was able to pull out some good books for Amazon and some for eBay. Here's some for eBay. Yeah, score, right? I found this textbook, but it's a teacher's edition. Oh man. See, teacher's edition, and you can't sell that on Amazon. So But anyway, so this one's going for like 70 bucks. It doesn't sell very often, but I'll throw it up on eBay. I'm listing it for 64.99 or better offer. And we'll see, maybe it'll take 6 months or a year to sell, but I'll stick it on the shelf and eventually make some money off of that, hopefully. So those are other ways that I'm able to make money from, with eBay. Wonder if you ever buy books by the pound. So I don't buy by the pound because I'm not buying enough. If I was doing what do you call it? Truckloads, which you can fit anywhere between like 46 to 52 Gaylords in like a Mack truck, 18-wheeler. Then yeah, you would probably you could do it by the pound depending on your source and get it for cheaper. Mark asked me, even with so many disposed, is there enough profit? Well, I mean, the numbers I was telling you guys, I mean, for the books, I pulled out 77 between the two Gaylords. So the two Gaylords, I spent $130, 65 each, and then there's a delivery fee. There's a delivery fee of 120 bucks, but I got four Gaylords, so you break it up, and then it's $30 each, so that's another 60 bucks. So it's $190 for the two Gaylords of books, and I pulled 77 books out of there, and then the potential profit is $666. And then you subtract the cost of goods, and it's $476. Of course, it's probably going to be less. Maybe it's going to be 400. Maybe it's going to be 350. But yes, there's profit, and it did not take me that long to go through them. But again, it's the difference between dealing with the duds and all that trash and all the extra stuff, and having to dig down into the Gaylord, throwing it into the other Gaylord, filling that up, and then disposing of it. And fortunately, that my source picks them up and takes them back, and they recycle it. They shred it. So if you don't have a way to get rid of them, then it's not worth getting into, to be honest. You've got to have a way to make money. If you're not going to make, you got to have a way to get rid of them. I mean, they're going to give me $10 for each dud of Gaylord dud books. Okay, here's a good point. Who is that? Pick and roll. So unless you have a source to sell the non-Amazon books, a Gaylord is not worth doing. Maybe. Yesterday, for example, I scanned about 900 books at one of my local thrift stores, pulled 27. Man. Hold on. Sorry. What's your potential profit, pick and roll, on those 27 books? Do you know? Or maybe you haven't listed them yet. I'd be curious to know if they were higher dollar books or not. If you're getting, let's say, $5, $5 profit each book, what's that? That'd be 135 bucks. So I definitely did not. So you found 27 books. I definitely didn't. And I found 77 for FBA and for merchant fulfilled. And I definitely scanned nowhere near 900 books. I scanned maybe over 100, maybe like a couple hundred. Oh, okay, $211. Okay, which is great. But so as an example, I didn't scan. If I would have scanned, I mean, the thing is that there's so many books in a Gaylord that are not worth scanning. So even though it has, let's say, 870 books or 900 books, the amount you're so first of all, the amount you're gonna scan is gonna be low because there's gonna be books that are in bad shape. Number one, there's gonna be books that are not worth scanning, and you know that by looking at them. There's gonna be books that are old, so they're like vintage books. Those, if they're in decent shape, those I look up on eBay. A few of those, not the super old ones, but maybe ones from back to the 50s or 60s, they might be worth looking up on Amazon even, but those you have to type in manually. Kids books, by and large, the only kids books I ever look up are the hardcover books with dust jackets. Some of those can be worth some money. And there's just other stuff. There's like encyclopedias and dictionaries, and some Bibles are worth money on eBay, or even on Amazon. But by and large, like it's a low percentage you're going to actually scan. So for me to scan 900 books out of let's say only Gaylords, I would probably have to go through like, I don't know, 6 Gaylords, 7 Gaylords. I mean, a lot, because I'm not going to scan certain titles. So let me go back to your question. So I mean, look at my numbers. I did not scan anywhere near 900 books. I didn't spend that much time. The most of the time I spent was throwing books into the other Gaylord and just going through it, pulling them out, putting them on the table, throwing some away, and then scanning some, and then putting some to the side to look up manually once I've scanned everything. So that's the time that it takes, right? But I'm still, my potential profit is $666 minus COGS, so $475 for it's hard to say exactly how many hours I spent sorting and scanning. I can't give you a definitive number, but it was not that many. Like I could get through in a morning, I could probably like 4 hours, let's say, I could probably get through a Gaylord by myself, sorting and scanning. If I'm able to focus for that amount of time, if I have the time to focus for it. So there's definitely profit in Gaylords without selling the duds in another way, but it's more profitable if you're able to take a lot of those fiction titles, certain nonfiction titles, kids books, and turn that into money, or goodwill, maybe donate it somewhere that you can then, get stuff back, whatever. That's going to help you make more money. So that's really, I'm not saying you can't make profit off of a few Gaylords here and there, not big bulk. I mean, not doing 10 a week or something, but even doing 2 or 3 or 4 a week, for sure you can. But definitely it's about speed, and getting through it as fast as possible and finding the best stuff. Let's see. Hold on one second. Okay. Do you ever get bulk lots of the same book in a Gaylord? Sometimes. If so, do you list the entire quantity on Amazon or eBay, or only list a small quantity to create a demand? I rarely find the same title, a bunch of copies of the same title. It's happened once in a while, but it doesn't happen that often. But I did find, not these 2 Gaylords, but a previous one. I found this random book. It's about these certain trees in Spain, in Mallorca, Spain. And I found like 10 of them. It's a hardcover book. They're all sealed. They're all new. And I had a hard time finding any of them. The one on Amazon is going for, is hardly ever sells. And the price is like $1,000, and that's ridiculous, but it doesn't sell. And then I found, I couldn't really find any. There was one copy there, and I think I found one other copy. There was no copies on Amazon, on eBay, so I listed it on eBay, and I've sold one so far, and I've had interest in another one from another person. So that's the only time that's happened, really. And I show that I have 9 copies on there, but yeah, but maybe it's a better idea to not show that. As you said, the issue with Gaylord model is time, manpower, and space, and what to do with the vast duds and finding ways to capitalize on the duds. Yes. So I can go to a thrift store. Let's say I go to one of my local thrift stores, one of my favorite ones. I'm going to probably go this next week. I meant to go today, but I just ended up finishing up everything I had to do here. One of my favorite ones I've gone to for 4 years now, and I'll spend, let's say, 2.5 hours, anywhere between an hour and a half, 2.5 hours, depends. Let's say 2, and a good day will be pulling out 25 and up, let's say 20. Well, yeah, 25 or more books, and similar to what Pick and Roll did. I don't think I'll scan 900 books, but I'll scan hundreds of books, and I'll almost always when I go there, as long as I give my a little bit of time in between, at least 2, 3 weeks, a month or so, so they put out more books because every day they're putting out books. I'll always find some nice profit books there. It varies though. Sometimes I'll find our books that are going for $10 to $15. Other times I'll find books like in that range, and then books that are 20 plus books, kind of a deal. But it's definitely worth my time because that's how I built this business from the beginning, is going to thrift stores and thrift store after thrift store, day after day, is you build up your inventory that way. So whether you're doing bulk or not, it's just about being consistent. So they're sort of a middleman, and they buy them from like thrift stores like Goodwill and Salvation Army and things like that. And I don't actually know I know they do get them from Goodwill. That's a part of where they get them from. But I believe they have other sources as well. But they probably do auctions, get them through auctions in big quantities. So I'm not getting it directly from the source. If I was getting it directly from the source, I would probably be able to get it cheaper. However, I would have to buy a much larger quantity, which I can't handle. So it's fine the way I'm doing it. But yeah, if you have like a direct line to a big thrift store, then you might be able to get it for less. But it's going to depend on where you live, and how badly they want to get rid of it and how in demand it is. So yeah, I mean, I lately I've been talking a lot about Gaylords. My storage unit is 10 feet by 29 feet. So I have enough space along the side where I can fit 5 Gaylords and then have the space to sort them. Uh, right now I can only fit 4 because I have this of the space is taken up by a full Gaylord of DVDs. It's the second of of 2 that I've had sitting there for a while. I went through the other one, and that one, I'm not going through yet. But for so right now I can put 4 Gaylords in there at a time. Um, yeah. So my storage unit is well, where I live. It's I don't know. I hear about other prices throughout the country, and it seems like I'm paying ridiculous amount of money. I'm paying like 380 or 370 a month for that storage unit. But I hear people in other parts of the country are paying like $150 or something. So it depends on where you live. Um, but yeah, rolling shelf. I have shelves up. I have 2 shelves up. They're not rolling though. That are holding a bunch of CDs. But yeah, I mean, I could. Um, I could. Sort of my dilemma now is the duds, right? I mean, if you watch my videos going back months, back to last summer, you know that I went through the process of trying out selling CDs at, yeah, see, 189 a month. Is I tried a swap meet at a flea market. One second. And those didn't work out for me. It was too much labor for very little payoff. Um, so I decided that I was either going to do eBay lots, or I was going to do sell those CDs. I don't know, do a garage sale, like a big event, make it a big event type of deal out of my garage or something like that. Unless I was, willing to open a small retail space, which is a whole nother type of business and endeavor, and I'm not ready for that yet. But I have such I have such a large quantity of CDs, and they're in a bunch of them are organized by genre and by artist and or group. So it's tough to just get rid of them. Just trying to find the best way to deal with that, but they take up a lot of space. Solid Sales says I've considered trying a Gaylord or 2, but space is an issue. I'm just not ready. I think it would have to pay off a lot. Yeah. So having done, by the way, this is awesome. There's 25 of you guys, which I love. On the call on the video right now, so definitely ask me questions if you have them. But yeah, let me go back again. Sorry, guys, got sidetracked. Yeah, so having done my first exposure to bulk was CDs, but I wasn't Gaylords. I was getting them in boxes. But once I started getting actual Gaylords, the first thing I did, so you make mistakes, right? You know, I rented a truck and picked up a couple, and then I sorted in the truck, and then I didn't know what to do with them, so I took them to a recycler, and luckily they had a forklift and a pallet jack that they put the pallet jack on the truck, and then I didn't know how to use it, and then I had to figure it out, and then moved it over, and then they took it off and all that stuff. So it was a bit of a hassle because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what I needed. So you need, if you're just going to try it once and that's it, it's going to be rough without a pallet jack and or a forklift. So I would say you need to have a place to have it delivered to. Put it wherever that is, in your garage, in your storage unit, in your driveway, whatever. And at least you need to be able to do that. If you don't have a pallet jack, then you can't move it around. So then once you're done, either you're just throwing away or donating books or whatever, CDs or whatever it may be, or going to go get them recycled, but you're going to need to have something to move those around unless you're going to empty them and then slowly get rid of them. It's going to be a big pain in the butt. So the only reason I'm able to do books at all now is because they take away the duds. When they weren't able to take them away before, I mean, that's why I got into CDs, because I can sell off most of them in some way or the other. Oh, jeez. Sorry, Estophiles. I'm really bad about checking that email. It's not because I didn't want to respond. It's because I haven't checked the email in a few weeks. Oh, there you go. February 2nd. Sorry about that. I will contact you through the email or phone number, okay? Sorry about that. I set up that email so for these types of reasons, and I don't check it enough. So my apologies. Have you tried scanning the recycled books on sellbackyourbook.com? Maybe you would get enough money back to pay for the Gaylord. Sell back your book. Let's take a look at that. Sell back. Whoops. Are you using that? Who said that? Troy? I've never tried that. I know Book Scouter, I believe it's called. Yeah, rollers. Troy, have you done it? I mean, I'm assuming these are only like newer books. I'd be curious to know. Let me know, Troy. Anyway, so I mean, I'm willing to do that kind of stuff. Like, I don't have a book to scan right now. But I'm willing to try this type of stuff, sellbackyourbook.com or whatever. I mean, I tried that kind of stuff with CDs with Declutter, and I stopped because I was doing Declutter big time. If you look at some of the videos I made back in like 2016 when I was getting into bulk CDs, I was super excited about Declutter because I was able to move hundreds of CDs out of my possession once I sent in everything for FBA, and I wasn't doing merchant fulfilled, I was only doing FBA. And say hi. Oh, say hi.
Hi.
All right. Oh, it's on Book Scouter. Okay. Um, yeah, and so I did that for a while, and yeah, one sec, Mark. Um, I did declutter for a while and sent in like hundreds. I made like hundreds of dollars, and it was great because I was paying for the CDs I was buying with the clutter. But the longer I did it, a couple things, I noticed that I was hardly getting anything for the CDs. After the first 20 or 25, they start going down to like 5 cents, 7 cents, that type of thing. They don't take the BMG or Club Edition CDs. Um, what do you call it? And then also I just started realizing that Declutter, when I started doing merchant fulfilled more, that Declutter is they're the I think they're the largest CD seller on Amazon. I mean, as far as I can tell, they have two big accounts, Declutter and then Zover Stocks, I think it's called. And between the two of them, they got over 1 million feedbacks. So so I decided I wasn't going to support them anymore. Not that it matters to them, but because now that I do merchant fulfilled, I see that they're always, if you match them in price, they'll in the next couple seconds or minutes, they'll immediately reprice at a penny less than you. And they're not the only ones doing that, but I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I mean, does it matter? Like, if it's a CD that I'm not going to bother with, even merchant fulfilled, then should I help them sell it? I don't know. It was a nice way to make I'd send in 400 or 500 CDs and make a couple $100 or whatever, but it would pay for the CDs I was buying, so that was nice, and they would just send the money electronically, but I stopped doing it. There's another one, Second Spin, I think that does that as well, but I haven't. And it seemed like they were paying more, but I scanned like a bunch of CDs with them, and they were paying more, but they were rejecting a lot of them, so it was a much lower percentage that they were accepting. But anyway, so there's those as options for CDs and for DVDs as well. Sorry. So Mark says I picked up 2 pallets of boxed kids books. They loaded my truck in 30 minutes with the forklift. When I got home, it took all day to unload them. It has to be over 2,000 books. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Did you sell them mostly on eBay and lots, I would assume? Kids books do great. Absolutely. But once again, you probably sold, buy it now kind of a thing, so you had to store them and wait for them to sell. Estophaly says, are you not able to sell CDs with FBA? Oh, no, I do. I do FBA and merchant fulfilled. No, I was just noticing as I was I'm diversifying more into merchant fulfilled, where a couple of years ago, I was really only doing FBA. When I started out, I was 100% FBA, and then a couple of years in, I only started in 2014. So sent my first shipment in September of 2014. So it's been close to 4.5 years. But first couple of years, I only did FBA and only did books. Then I diversified into VHS tapes and then CDs and records. And then almost 2 years ago, this April will be 2 years, I diversified into eBay. And now I'm getting bigger into merchant fulfilled. So no, I do CDs on FBA. That's the only reason. I mean, that's the biggest reason why I buy CDs in bulk, because I can sell them on Amazon, and I wasn't restricted or anything like that. Let's see. So have you guys? Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, if you have a good process for that for eBay and the patience, for sure, do it. So for my CDs shipments and my book shipments, I got no more than 3 splits. Yeah, long tail books. If you have the space and the patience, then go for it. The more long tail books you list on Amazon or on eBay, if you go from 20 to 100 to 500 books listed and they're all long tails, at some point there's going to be a tipping point where you're going to hit a certain threshold and you're going to start seeing consistent sales. It could be only, let's say you go from zero listed to 500 listed over a couple months. If you go from no sales to, uh, a sale, a couple sales a month, and then it starts going to a sale a week, and then it starts going to a sale every other day, and then you get to the point to where you're making a daily sale, whether it's eBay or Amazon for long tail books, and that's just how it works. And typically long tail books are going to be higher price, so you got to have the patience, you got to be consistent. I mean, that's that's just how it is. There's this, if you guys are not familiar with it, it's called Zero Splits, this Chrome extension. Yeah, that's the tough one. That's my issue, right? When you're a one person operation, um, that's what I love about FBA is like once I send it off, aside from repricing, it's basically my job is done. And Amazon basically handles it. So it frees me up to do other stuff. I mean, to do more FBA, get more books or more, books or CDs for FBA or do, eBay or whatever. So like right now, I have no more books or CDs for FBA or merchant fulfilled from any of those Gaylords. So all I have is eBay stuff. So I can either order more Gaylords or I can hit up a bunch of thrift stores or I can dive deep into eBay. I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do for this next week or so. Um, oh, so anyway, if you guys don't know, there's this Chrome extension. It's not mine or anything, but called Zero Splits. The website is zerosplits.com, and it takes advantage of this back end situation with Amazon where it gets rid of the splits. And this is only going to be until March 31st. So what is it? The 15th of February. So it's another about 6 weeks or so. It's $50 though to buy it. And then if you're doing a lot of the next 6 weeks, if you're doing a ton of FBA shipments, yeah. Um, if you're doing a ton of shipments in the next 6 weeks, it could be worth the $50. If you're only doing a few, like I'm not planning on doing a bunch, so I'm probably not going to do it. Then it might not be worth it. But I thought I'd just give you guys a heads up. But after March 31st, it's over. And this is also if you're getting a bunch of splits, a bunch of split shipments. If you're not, then who cares? Or if you can handle it. That's the other thing, the books are so much heavier than CDs. I spent $29 for sending in, let's see, what is that? 38, 42 books. I spent $29 on inbound shipping, 69 cents a book. Ouch. And one of the problems is because they were split three ways. But what are you going to do? I mean, if one of them was a close warehouse and the other two were further away, so it ends up being way more expensive. I will still make money off the books, but make less. 123 books to FB on Monday. Took me 8 hours Sunday to price, add into system, label, and box. Yeah, it takes time, but good job. I mean, if you can do 100 plus a week, you're going to see some significant sales going forward. Yeah, I do private mode on Exceller list, and I got three splits today for the 42 books. Um, and when I did the 100 plus CD shipments, I got three or four different warehouses. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not as bad as it used to be. Private mode has helped. Before private mode, when I would do live, not kidding, I would get anywhere between 8 to 11 or 12 splits for like 120 items. No problem, Troy. Yeah, we're going on an hour now. I should probably wrap it up. Are you guys seeing, before I go, are you guys, real quick, if you want to chime in, are you guys seeing sales slowing? Have sales been slow for you? There's not just today, but in general for the last couple of weeks. I've noticed in the past when I did books that February was slower. No problem, Mark. But I'm not big into books right now. I'm more into the CDs. And my thoughts are that it's like the post, post holiday whatevers. People, spend a bunch of money, they got their presents, and January tends to be good because for books because it's back to school, but in general because people are still feeling, like feeling good about getting out of the, I mean, feeling good after the holidays or in the holiday mood. So they're still, they're spending money that they got, and they're stocking, gift cards and that type of stuff. There's still a lot of activity going on. But my theory is that, now that we're into, nope, my battery's dying. Now that we're into February here, halfway through, okay, that it's kind of slowing down a bit. So my hope is that it'll pick up soon, hopefully March or something. But it's been tough for me to continue to work on it, especially like my merchant fulfilled sales were great in December and in January. Yeah, thumbs up. And oh, 1 second, Mac. And they really, have slowed down this month. But and I've listed a lot more. So anyway, I'm just assuming that that's what's going on and just hoping that it picks up. But I try not to focus on one day or even a couple weeks, but it's hard. Like yes, let's see. Yesterday I had I think six sales. Six sales. And today I've had seven so far. So, it's not that bad, but I've sent in some stuff and, in the last couple weeks, and I have a bunch more going in right now. So sales should be hopefully improving. But let's see, what did someone Max said, how are you liking the long-term storage fee? The new long. Yeah, hopefully, Mark. The long-term storage fees. Yeah. Well, I love that the long-term storage fees are over, except for the one that's a year, year and over. So basically, my phone battery's gonna die here soon. So let me answer the questions real quick. Yeah, I love that the long-term storage fees are basically gone, so we can focus on building our inventory, sending in quality books still, even though we shouldn't send in crap. We got to send in good stuff that's going to sell. But yeah, I love that. Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, finally. Yeah, sometimes shipments take a little longer, pick and roll. Where's your book inventory at? Well, I don't know about just books, but so my FBA inventory right now, my live inventory is 837. So that's mostly CDs. There's some books sprinkled in there, but it's probably like, I don't know, 85, 90% CDs. I have 42 from today going in of books, and then I have another. My merchant fulfilled is 400 and something. Let's see. So I've got 107 plus 14, 121 CDs that are going in, plus the 42. So I've got another 160 plus CDs and books that will be hitting over the next week to week and a half. So that'll be good. Hopefully sales will improve for me. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to sorry guys, I think I'm tired of talking. I'm gonna have to end the video. I appreciate you guys watching live. We've had as many as 25 people live at the same time, which is awesome. Like I've said this in the past, you know, I hope that I can grow this to that there's like hundreds of people watching, just because I think it would be a lot of fun and to answer people's questions and just get information out there. So please, no, I don't have a. Do I have a limit on inventory? I don't think. Maybe I do, but it's pretty high, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm not sure. So please hit the thumbs up. 6 people gave me thumbs up. I appreciate it. If anybody else like this, either live or in the future, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I will see you guys hopefully Monday. It's a holiday Monday, so I should make a video. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. You're out there. If you're resting, great. If you're